Hare Krishna. Anybody there? Uff, 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 Koki Boba.
Hi Krishna Mataji, Prabal Madhuri Das is here. Please accept my humble obeisances. Glories to Guru Maharaj and Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabal Mataji, please accept mine too. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Oh, Mataji, I tell you this 2, 3, and 4, I don't know what it is with me, with this creative process. I get confused. Every time. It's not confused. It is confusing for me. I have to keep going over it, several times. For some reason, it's because it's complicated to me. Very complicated. But we'll see. Maybe you can help me with some things I don't understand. There's a few things I'm not sure I'm understanding correctly. It's not a lot, but sometimes the certain terminology can throw me off a little. Oh, Mataji. It's hot out, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's very hot today.
It's like this in India, isn't it, Mataji?
Yeah.
You can imagine my flight. Sorry, go ahead. I was saying, Mataji, you can imagine my flight. The dryer vent over here is like in the basement is like not working. So it's emitting all the hot air into the basement. Can you imagine all the hot air? Yeah, I've asked him many times to fix it, but he's not getting it fixed. And so it's like I have to sit in the heat with all this hot air. It's even more terrible. I don't have any, and the air conditioning is never on, so.
It's got to be very hot. Yeah. Oh. Okay, how are you doing, Ruchi Mataji? I just woke up. I took a little bit of a nap here today.
Mataji, should we get started with the prayers? It's already 5:07.
Yeah, I might as well get started. Sure. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Narayanam Namaskritya, Naram Chaiva Narottamam, Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam, Tato Jayam Udirayet, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Okay, Matajis. So today, I'm reading from Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so Text 2. Rupam yad etad avabo boda rasadayena shashvan nivrita tamasa sad anugrahaya adalgrihitam avatar shateka bijam yanabi padma bhagavan nad aham avirasham. Translation. The form which I see is eternally freed from material contamination and has advented to show mercy to the devotees as a manifestation of internal potency. This incarnation is the origin of many other incarnations, and I am born from the lotus flower grown from your navel home. Purport by His Divine Grace, H.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshvara, or Shiva, the executive heads of the three modes of material nature, passion, goodness, and ignorance, are all generated from Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who is described herein by Brahma. From the Kshirodakshai Vishnu, many Vishnu incarnations expand at different ages in the duration of the cosmic manifestation. They are expanded only for the transcendental happiness of the pure devotees. The incarnations of Vishnu, who appear at different ages and times, are never to be compared to the conditioned souls. The Vishnu Tattvas are not to be compared to deities like Brahma and Shiva, nor are they on the same level. Anyone who compares them is called a Pashandi, or infidel. Tamasa, mentioned herein, is the material nature, and the spiritual nature has a completely separate existence from Tama. Therefore, spiritual nature is called Avabodha Ras, or Avarod Ras. Avarod means that which completely nullifies. In the transcendence, there is no chance of material contact by any means. Brahma is the first living being, and therefore, he mentions his birth from the lotus flower generated from the abdomen of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Okay, so in this new chapter, Lord Brahma is he's speaking about the creative process and how it occurred and how we came into being, etc. And he talks about that the form of the Lord that which he sees right at that moment, okay, is completely freed from material contamination and came into being, okay, to show mercy to the devotees as a manifestation of internal potency. Okay, so it's the original form of the Lord Sri Krishna, who came to show mercy to all the devotees and to show his manifestation as a sign of internal potency, and how Brahma came into being. We're saying that this original form of the Lord is, let me explain. He has the incarnation of the Lord has many, many other incarnations. It's not just that he incarnates one time. He incarnates many times in the original creation of the cosmic manifestation. And Lord Brahma is saying that he was born from the lotus flower, which was grown in the navel of the Lord. Okay, so we have to understand that Lord Brahma did not come instantly. First, it was Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are the three heads of the modes of material nature. And those three modes are passion, goodness, and ignorance in the material world. And all of that originates from Garbhodakshai Vishnu, okay, who is described by Brahma. So from the Kshirodakshai Vishnu, many Vishnu incarnations expand. And why do they expand? Only for the transcendental happiness of the pure devotees. Okay. So we shouldn't compare all the incarnations of the Lord to the conditioned souls. Now, I believe that the Vishnu Tattvas are the first incarnations, which appear. And those, in fact, I'm going to read about that for you in just a second. We have Mahavishnu, who's lying on the causal ocean, and then we have Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and I believe from him, and then there is the Kshirodaksha Vishnu. Yes. So in fact, I'm going to read that so that we don't get confused here, or at least me. Those are the Vishnu Tattvas in the beginning. And so we don't compare them to deities like Brahma and Shiva. In fact, Lord Shiva is certainly not on the same level as Mahavishnu, etc., because he is born as within the material world as an eternal servitor of the Lord, and he is responsible for the creation. Okay, the actual creation and of the material manifestation. It doesn't occur instantly. First we have these other incarnations, and then Brahma, and I'm going to read about that in just a second. So I'm not quite sure if I understand this here. We don't want to compare Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. These are some demigods. We don't want to compare them with the original, I think they're called the Purusha incarnations. Tell me if I'm wrong on that. Can someone tell me if I'm wrong? I'm not sure, but I thought they were called the Purusha incarnations, or now the Vishnu Tattvas, I believe, are like incarnations of the Lord, like Lord Ram, Lord Narayan, for example, etc. Lord Balaram, etc. So I'm thinking that there is a difference there. There's Vishnu Tattvas who come directly from the Lord. These are direct expansions or incarnations of the Lord. And then I would say the Purusha incarnations, I think, are the first ones. The Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. Now, if I'm wrong, please correct me, because I told you I get a little confused with the terminology. And so we should never compare like the demigods with the direct incarnations or expansions of the Lord, because the direct expansions are exactly like the Lord. Okay, they have all the potencies of the Lord, etc. Whereas Lord Brahma does not. Okay. And then when we're in the transcendental world, there's no chance of material contact by any means. Okay. So Lord Brahma is the first living being. So he's first living being within the material world, and his birth came from the abdomen of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So I found something in Krishna.com which kind of helped me, because, forgive me if I'm going too far here, repeating, but I'm just going to read a piece of it about that beginning creation. Okay, so Krishna, this is from Krishna.com, it's called Vishnu. Krishna's first expansion for the creation is Mahavishnu, who begins by manifesting the material elements from his transcendental body. Modern scientists will object to the mention of a creator. The material energy is eternal, they say, so why bring in God? But the Vedic literatures respond that Mahavishnu is also eternal and that the material elements are his eternal energy. God and his energy are like the sun and the sunshine, which exist simultaneously, although one is the origin of the other. Both God and the material energy are eternal, and yet God is the source of the material energy. So we know now that Mahavishnu is the first expansion of the Lord, okay, and he has all the, well, let's say, elements. He has the, he is the source, okay. God is the source of the material energy, and so Mahavishnu is the first expansion. We might also wonder how Mahavishnu could perform the gigantic act of creating all the material elements without becoming totally depleted, dispersing himself into the elemental creation. Materially speaking, when we take something from a particular source, we gradually exhaust that source. Withdraw money from your bank account and the balance goes down. Pour water from a glass and the glass empties. Take milk from a cow and the cow gradually dries up, unless she can replenish her supply from a pasture or feed bin. Since God is by definition the source of everything, there is nothing outside of him to replenish himself. So what happens to Mahavishnu when he creates the material elements from himself? The Ishopanishad says nothing happens to him at all. Mahavishnu is unaffected and unchanged, even while supplying an unlimited quantity of elements. How could this be? Because depletion and exhaustion are properties of matter. Mahavishnu, however, is not matter, but pure spirit, and therefore he has no material properties. He produces a complete cosmic manifestation from his own form, yet remains perfect and complete. As Krishna expands into Mahavishnu without changing his form or identity, so Mahavishnu creates the material elements, yet remains complete in himself. The Srimad Bhagavatam informs us that from the material elements, Mahavishnu produces not one, but innumerable universes, or rather universal shells. These gigantic shells are hollow spheres. The lower half is filled with water, and the upper half is, at least initially, empty. The Bhagavatam also states that our particular universe is the smallest of all the universes, and yet the space inside the shell measures 4 billion miles in diameter, while the shell itself is billions of miles thick. Mahavishnu expands his personality and enters each universe as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Garbhodakshay Vishnu then generates Brahma, the first living entity in the universe. So we go from Mahavishnu to who creates all of these billions and billions of universes. He breathes them out, okay, and they're half empty, all right, and then he expands again and enters all the universes as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So we have a Garbhodakshay Vishnu in every universe, and then Garbhodakshay Vishnu generates Brahma, the first living being or living entity in the universe. And if I'm not mistaken, okay, although Brahma is an eternal individual person, he is not a plenary expansion of the Lord. He, like you and me, is a Jiva Tattva expansion in quality equal with Krishna, but quantitatively minute. The Jiva Tattva expansions are part and parcel of Krishna, and as such, their eternal blissful function is to render loving service to him. In fact, they have no other function, just as a finger has no other function than to render service to the entire body. When the Jiva souls are separated from the eternal service of Lord Krishna, they lose their eternal blissful nature, just as a finger loses its very life when severed from the body. Before coming to the material creation, the Jiva souls live in the eternal spiritual world, which lies beyond the material universes. There they act in their relationships as servants, friends, and associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Since these relationships with Krishna are based solely on love, however, the Jiva souls have a minute degree of independence. They can choose to remain subordinate to the all-powerful Supreme Person, or they can desire to neglect his service and become independent lords themselves. Without this choice, this freedom to serve or not serve, there's no question of loving God, since love is necessarily an act of free will. A minority of Jiva souls, misusing their independence, desire to enjoy life without Krishna. It is to fulfill as well as to reform this unnatural desire of a relatively small number of jivas. And this is something that in my class this morning, I think, Aruchi, you were asking about this, okay? So it kind of answers the question here. It is to fulfill as well as to reform this unnatural desire of a relatively small number of jivas that Lord Krishna creates the material world. Walled within the shells of material universes, the independently minded jivas are awarded bodies in any of the millions of species and are allowed to forget their eternal life of bliss and knowledge with Krishna. According to Bhagavad Gita, a jiva soul is situated in each living body, just as a driver is situated in an automobile. The driver is different from his car, although he directs its movements. Similarly, the jiva soul, although doggedly trying to enjoy a body made of the material elements, is separate from it. Each kind of body, from the microbe to the human being, affords the jiva a particular kind of sense enjoyment, a different means for trying to satisfy his godless longings. And I'm just going to read one small little part and I'm done. Within each of the innumerable universes, Garbhodakshai Vishnu expands as Shirodakshai Vishnu, who then expands himself unlimitedly to enter the hearts of all living entities in his particular universe. So out of this expansion of Krishna is known as Paramatma, the super soul, who accompanies each jiva soul in his search for material pleasure. In the Gita, Lord Krishna says that as the super soul, he directs the jiva's search by supplying them with memory, knowledge, and forgetfulness. At death, the jiva soul is taken from his present body and prepared for his next birth in one of the 8,400,000 species. All this is arranged by the Lord in the heart. The human body is just suitable for austerity, self-realization, and reawakening Krishna consciousness. But if a human being acts and desires like an animal, he is allowed in his next life to enjoy in the body of an animal. And then, it continues to go on. And then it just says, Lord Brahma, the first jiva soul in each universe, is in charge of constructing all the planets and planetary systems. He's also in charge of creating the 8,400,000 species of life, including aquatics, insects, plants, birds, animals, and human beings. Inspired and empowered by Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Brahma assembles the creation using the material elements. Starting from just above the waters of the ocean that fills, halt the universe, and extending up to his own planet in the topmost reaches of the dome of universal space, Brahma constructs 14 planetary systems, one above the other. The Earth planet is in the 7th of those 14 planetary systems. And, okay, and so I'm going to stop there just so we get an idea, after reading this, where does Lord Brahma fit in there? It comes from the lotus flower generated from the abdomen of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So Garbhodakshai Vishnu is within each universe, and of course that was an expansion of Mahavishnu originally. And then, so I'm assuming, and please tell me if I'm wrong, that Lord Brahma then would appear in each each of those universes, if I'm not mistaken, because Garbhodakshay Vishnu appears in each of the universes. That's kind of the way I'm understanding it here. And the Kshirodakshay Vishnu becomes Lord, the Paramatma in the heart of each and every living entity that exists. So that kind of explains those first expansions, the Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Kshirodakshay Vishnu, and then Lord Brahma coming from the lotus flower in the abdomen of Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So that's text 2. You know what, before I go on, does anybody want to correct me and maybe like explain something if I made a mistake there in saying that? No? Okay. Then text 3. Nata param paramayad bhavata svarupam ananda matram akilampam avidavarchaha pashyami vishva shrijam ekam avishvam atman bhutendri yatmaka madasta upashritoshmi. Translation, O my Lord, I do not see a form superior to your present form of eternal bliss and knowledge. In your impersonal Brahman effulgence in the spiritual sky, there is no occasional change and no deterioration of internal potency. I surrender unto you because whereas I am proud of my material body and senses, your lordship is the cause of the cosmic manifestation, and yet you are untouched by matter. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18:55, Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yashchami tatvata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can only be partially known, and only by the process of devotional service to the Lord. Lord Brahma became aware that the Supreme Lord Krishna has many, many eternal blissful forms of knowledge. He has described such expansions of the Supreme Lord Govinda in his Brahma Samhita 533 as follows. Advaitam, Ajutam, Anadimanantarupam, Ajam Purana Purusham Nava, Yovanam Cha, Vedeshu Durlabam, Adurlabam Atma Bhaktau, Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is non-dual and infallible. He's the original cause of all causes, even though he expands in many, many forms. Although he is the oldest personality, he is ever youthful, unaffected by old age. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be known by the academic wisdom of the Vedas. One has to approach the devotee of the Lord to understand him. The only way to understand the Lord as he is by devotional service to the Lord, or by approaching the devotee of the Lord, who always has the Lord in his heart. By devotional perfection, one can understand that the impersonal Brahmajyoti is only a partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, and that the three Purusha expansions in the material creation are his plenary portions. In the spiritual sky of the Brahmajyoti, there is no change of various kalpas or millenniums, and there are no creative activities in the Vaikuntha worlds. The influence of time is conspicuous by its absence. The rays of the transcendental body of the Lord, the unlimited Brahmajyoti, are undeterred by the influence of material energy. In the material world also, the initial creator is the Lord himself. He brings about the creation of Brahma, who becomes the subsequent creator, empowered by the Lord. So, purport, understand that we can only partially know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the only way that the jiva can really know him is by devotional service to the Lord. That is the only real way to do it. You can't do it by merging into the Brahma effulgence. If you go into the Brahma Jyoti, effulgence, there's no devotional service to the Lord. So it becomes very difficult to know the Lord in that way. And then Lord Brahma, he realizes, don't forget, he meditated and did a lot of tapasya, okay, before he understood how to make this material manifestation. And so he came to know that the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna has many, many forms. Okay, he has many incarnations and many eternal blissful forms of knowledge. So, and some of the expansions of the Lord were described in the Brahma Samhita. He's also called Govinda. He's non-dual and he's infallible. He's perfect, okay? There's no duality within him as there is in the material world, okay? He's unaffected by anything in the material world, although he created the material world. And he's the cause of all causes, and he's one without a second. And he expands in many, many forms. We're talking innumerable forms. And this is, I always find interesting, he's the oldest personality in the universes, in the entire creation, anywhere, whether it be in the material world or the spiritual sky. But yet he always is unaffected by old age. He's always youthful. Well, that would be nice, when we pass to the next realm, wherever that be, and we don't have to get old, So in practicing Gyan Yoga, for example, we can't know the Lord that way by philosophical speculation, okay, or academic wisdom. That's not the way to know the Lord. You have to understand him through his devotee, okay? The devotee of the Lord will teach us how to perform devotional service. That is the only way to approach the Lord. And of course, approaching the Lord through devotional service or through a devotee of the Lord. Okay, that could be your spiritual master. It could be any of the acharyas, Prabhupada, the previous line in disciplic succession. That's how we have to approach the Lord. Okay, and through devotional service, so you really don't get to understand that the impersonal aspect of the Lord, or the Brahma Jyoti, is only a partial representation of the Lord, until you have to go through devotional service to understand, oh, okay, there's the Lord, like he's like the sun, and this impersonal aspect is the sun's rays, or the Brahma Jyoti. And we also, through devotional service, come to understand the three Purusha expansions, okay? They are his plenary portions. Yeah, I think I am correct. I'm just seeing it now. I think that, the Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Shirodakshay Vishnu, these are the Purusha expansions in the material creation. And in the spiritual world, that's of the Brahma Jyoti. Okay, the spiritual sky of the Brahma Jyoti, it's interesting. When you go to the spiritual world, even in the sun rays of the Lord, let's say, the the effulgence of the Lord. There's no change of kalpas, there's no time, basically. There's no creative activities in the Vaikuntha worlds, okay? So the material energy does not influence this unlimited Brahmajyoti. It doesn't influence the spiritual world, or because the material energy is appears through time, and in the Vaikuntha worlds, or I believe here we're talking about the spiritual sky. The material creation or the material energy cannot affect the spiritual world, which is completely spiritual. It has nothing to do with material nature. And in the material world, the creator is, initial creator is the Lord himself, but he's the initial creator of the entire creation. And he creates Brahma, of course, who becomes the creator, the subsequent creator, empowered by the Lord. So Brahma is an eternal servitor of the Lord. He does appear in the in Brahmaloka, which I believe is a heavenly planet, but it's still within the material creation. And the Brahmajyoti is outside of the material creation, but yet it's only a partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the Lord is a person. And so the rays and the effulgence are not a person. That's why you can't approach Krishna himself in that aspect, in that effulgence, because there you have no time, you have no activity, so there's no devotional service in that Brahmajyoti effulgence, I think. So that's what I understood by text 3, and then text 4. Tadva idam bhuvana mangalaya Dhyanes mano darshitam ta upasakanam tasmai namo bhagavate anudi evema tubayam yo anadrito naraka bagbir asat prasangehe. Translation: this present form, or any transcendental form expanded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is equally auspicious for all the universes. Since you have manifested this eternal personal form upon whom your devotees meditate, I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Those who are destined to be dispatched to the path of hell neglect your personal form because of speculating on material topics. Purport. Regarding the personal and impersonal features of the Supreme Absolute Truth, the personal forms exhibited by the Lord in his different plenary expansions are all for the benediction of all the universes. The personal form of the Lord is also worshipped in meditation as Super Soul, Paramatma, but the impersonal Brahmajyoti is not worshipped. Persons who are addicted to the impersonal feature of the Lord, whether in meditation or otherwise, are all pilgrims to hell, because as stated in Bhagavad Gita 12:5, impersonalists simply waste their time in mundane mental speculation because they are addicted more to false arguments than to reality. Therefore, the association of the impersonalists is condemned herewith by Brahma. All the plenary expansions of the personality of Godhead are equally potent, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 546. Diparchir eva hi dashantaram abhyupetya dipayate vivrita hetu samana dharma yastadrik eva hi cha vishnu tataya Vibhakti Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Lord expands himself as the flames of a fire expand one after another. Although the original flame, or Sri Krishna, is accepted as Govinda, the Supreme Person, all other expansions such as Ram, Nrsimha, and Varaha are as potent as the original Lord. All such expanded forms are transcendental. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is made clear that the Supreme Truth is eternally uncontaminated by material touch. There is no jugglery of words and activities in the transcendental kingdom of the Lord. All the Lord's forms are transcendental, and such manifestations are ever identical. The particular form of the Lord exhibited to a devotee is not mundane, even though the devotee may retain material desire, nor is it manifest under the influence of material energy, as is foolishly considered by the impersonalists. Impersonalists who consider the transcendental forms of the Lord to be products of the material world are surely destined for hell. Okay, so I think I explained some of these ideas in the previous two texts, but so we know that there are personal and impersonal features of the Lord, okay? The personal forms come out in his plenary expansions, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Shirodakshai Vishnu. These plenary expansions are for the benediction of the universes, or all of the universes. The impersonal form, now this is interesting, the personal form still is also worshipped in meditation, the Paramatma feature. So in the, I believe, I can't pronounce it right, D-Y-A-N-A, Dhyana Yoga, these are yogis who meditate on the personal form of the Lord, okay? So this is still a personal aspect of Krishna. And it is transcendental by all means, but the impersonal Brahmajyoti is not worshipped. And I think I talked about that because this is his impersonal feature. Okay, it's not his highest feature, and you can't get to Krishna unless you can relate to him in his personal form through devotional service. So this impersonal form can't be worshipped. So basically, you're wasting your time. If you're an impersonalist and you don't believe that, you want to just reach the impersonal Brahmajyoti, it's kind of a waste of time because nothing's really going on up there. You're outside of time. There's no activity going on. And you still have to incarnate, take another body in order to come back to worship the Lord in devotional service as a person. So these are the people, if I'm not mistaken, the Sankhya philosophy and the Gyan philosophy are the same. The impersonalists who worship, they try to get to approach the Lord or achieve the Lord through philosophical speculation. But it's really a waste of time. And so Lord Brahma actually condemns this form of association. Okay, so we don't want to be associating with people who have no belief in the personhood, let's say, of the Lord. And so the expansions of the Lord has many, many, many expansions. We know about the plenary expansions. We talked about those several times. But then there are other expansions, and they're innumerable, such as Lord Ram, Nrsimha, Varaha, and all of them are as potent as the original Lord. They're all transcendental. And so we know that if the Supreme Lord is uncontaminated by the material energy, then we know that all of his plenary expansions and all other expansions are just as potent as the original Lord himself. So they also are not affected by the material energy. And then we start talking here about the kingdom, the spiritual world. And in the spiritual world, it's perfect. Okay, there's no jugglery of words. So, okay, and the Lord's forms are all, like I said before, transcendental and identical in that energy, in the same type of energy. Yet they each are individuals, even though they carry the same energy as the Lord. Okay, and then of course they're not influenced by material energy. So the impersonalists, of course, have the wrong view of this. They think that many of the impersonalists consider the expansions or the transcendental forms of the Lord are products of the material world. So basically, you're not going to get anywhere with that kind of thinking, okay? Because we know that all of these forms are transcendental, just like the Lord. And it's just fascinating because they're all transcendental. They have all the energy. They're the same in all those ways. They're not contaminated or affected by the material world, that each one is an individual. Okay, they don't incarnate as Lord Sri Krishna each time. They, even though they are Krishna, with Krishna's energy, Baladev is not the same as Lord Sri Krishna, although he is, if I can say it that way, in terms of his transcendence and energy, etc. Okay, that's what I understood in 2, 3, and 4 today. I guess, help me out, ladies, if I missed something or misinterpreted something, because this always is complicated. For me, it's very complicated. So that's it. Thank you. Anybody there?
Yes, Govardhana Lila Mataji. Thank you so much for your class, Mataji, and also for reading from Krishna.com. It gives a little more clarification, as you said.
I felt it did, because I'm sure you know this by heart, but from hearing it so many hundreds of times. But for me to be able to go back and re-explain that to somebody, I need to hear it like 100 times. Because it's not so easy.
Every time we hear it, it's still confusing for me as well.
It is? Because, oh my goodness. So I'm, any questions here, or did I say something? So maybe I'll ask you, because you know this better than I. So the plenary expansions.
Mataji, I can send one chart actually. It explains it like in detail, like all the expansions of the Lord starting from Krishna. So I think it gives more deeper understanding if I send you that chart.
Oh yeah, the chart. Yes, that. Well, I think I'll really understand it a lot better. Yeah. So.
How, Mataji? Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Mataji.
I don't know if anybody else joined today. We didn't hear anyone except Ruchi, Mataji, and you and me.
It was interesting. Ruchi. Oh, and there's Rashali.
Thank you for the nice class, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranams. Yeah. Ruchi, did you fall asleep?
No, I did not. I was hearing some of it was a little difficult for me since I didn't have the book open, but most of it like in bits and pieces I could follow, because my attention span is not the same. Still, I'm still recovering from.
Sure. Now, let me ask this question to anyone who can answer it. So, am I correct in saying that so when the material creation manifested, some jivas, not all, the ones who were still within the body of the Lord, not all of them needed to come here to the material world, because we were saying this morning, Ruchi Mataji. Remember, you were asking some question, and this came up. The great majority, which is 3/4 of the spiritual sky, I think would contain the living entities who are eternally worshiping the Lord and never had a desire to come to this place to worship outside of the Lord. Am I correct in saying that?
The 3/4 of like the existence is spiritual. Is that what you're trying to say? Yes, we have read it in Bhagavatam that
yes.
3/4 of the 3/4, not necessarily all of them have never come down, but because many of the sages and the gurus, and the enlightened souls, they keep coming for the welfare of the humankind, to show us the right way and to help us in our path to Godhead. So, like many of them also descend because of some mistakes. So, it's not like they have not descended over and over again. But yes, like 3/4 of it is, like I remember from reading in the Bhagavatam, only 3/4 of it is spiritual, and like it's not like all those people have never descended, because some either fall from their merit and some others come to give guidance, and others are sent by God to, like, literally as like plenary expansions of some deities, etc. So so like that is what my understanding is, that even after they reach the spiritual world, they still have to come down until and unless they reach the supreme abode from where no one returns.
Well, in the supreme abode, I'm talking about the spiritual world. I do realize that some of these liberated souls come back to teach us. Some of our gurus, they come back to teach us lessons, to bring us back to Godhead. They have missions, but they're liberated souls, and they don't get affected by the material energy, even if they come back into it. I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about in the beginning, okay, I would say most of that material creation understands their constitutional position, and what stayed with the Lord in the spiritual sky, worshiping Him. And there's only 1/4 of those living entities who came here in this cosmic manifestation. There are not all that many jivas, when you consider the totality, who keep coming back here because they want to worship outside of Krishna. And there have been, I think, 1 or 2, a few in the spiritual world who actually fell down, because we're always given that free will. Okay, Krishna always gives us free will. And it kind of explained it to me here. Why would Krishna give us free will at all times? And I think that's because not only we can choose to worship Him or not, but love, to come to the Lord in love, has to be an act of free will. And that, gives a perfect explanation to me as to why there's free will. Because He could have created us without free will. But He didn't. He created us with free will. And why is that? Because people have said, well, we could fall down. Yes, we could fall down. We could even fall down from the spiritual world, even though it is extremely unlikely that that's going to happen, because we can choose at any time to love God or not to love him. He always gives us free will, no matter where we are. Is this the correct understanding?
I think according to me, it's just definitely right. The rest, I don't. Other people.
Okay, so Prabhala Mataji, are you still there?
Yes, Mataji.
Did that make sense what I said? Because I don't want to say something that's not right. I want to make sure I'm understanding it correctly.
Oh, sorry, Mataji, I didn't pay much attention. I was looking for the chat and I was sending it in the email. So I'm sorry, Mataji, I didn't pay like total attention of what you said in the last.
Okay.
Mataji. Sorry.
That's all right. That's okay. All right. Well, if no one has any further questions, I guess that's it for today. I want to thank you for putting up with me.
Hare Krishna, Govardhana Lila Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Please
Krishna.
accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Mataji, I'm so sorry. Like, I had my phone on, but I was just super distracted, so I couldn't pay attention because we are running around, like, doing things for, like,
The
for
retreat.
Yeah. So, but actually, I just wanted to ask, like, tomorrow myself, Premaresa will be busy, and Rishali Mataji is also busy. So who else is available to read? Like, should we like cancel the class, or like if someone is available to read, then we can have it. But otherwise, it's.
I won't be home because I'll be, getting ready to come. I'll be gone in the afternoon, and then I'll be coming to your house later.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So, but I mean, then who else is available to read? Like, otherwise, maybe we can cancel for tomorrow.
I suppose we can cancel.
Okay, so for now, it's Rishali's turn, and she texted if someone else can read on her behalf. I can read, but nobody will be there to listen. So what's the point? Yeah, like a big majority is missing.
Mataji, also starting from Thursday, we have Festival of Holy Name retreat. So maybe I think we should continue from Monday only.
We'll continue from next Monday, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And I think Mataji, since Gajendra Mokshadas is going to be changing the class to Tuesday nights instead of Thursday, because he's giving class tonight, I'm going to ask if I can have give class on Thursdays now instead of Tuesdays.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because it's too much for me in one day. It's too much.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah.
Oh,
okay, Mataji.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Bye-bye.